It is 3:30 in the morning. I'm a lot tighter than I look, for sure. Yeah, I'm so buzzing. I'm back at a right old horn and gonna take a big walk along the canal now. Hopefully get a nice sunrise over the Riveroos, down through the vegetation to my special place. I cannot believe I'm back. It's got to be the best part of 25 years since I fished here. It's mad, it's hardly changed. You know, there's people with a lease on it now and there's a little bit of work done through it, but other than that, it's still the same as it was 25 years ago. If anything, it's probably a little bit less lily pads and more sort of Eladera or Crispa, whatever that oxygenating plant is. But yeah, definitely the same feeling, walking along that towpath, that big old slog, like it's a fair old trek from the closest car park, and then down the precarious slope, that hasn't changed at all. There's no handrail, there's no stairs, it's like just a slip slide motion. And I'm back here again. This is my ultimate happy place. But yeah, let's go and explore. I'd basically been working in a tackle shop, gone fishing, Milton Keynes, and I was a Saturday boy riddling the maggots, doing the casters. And then there was a lad in there called Ian, and it was Ian that introduced me to the venue. He basically had fished it and he showed me some photos and he explained where it was. And coming down here for the first time, it was really, really daunting. Not only just getting down to the water itself is precarious to say the least, but when I was down here, I kind of looked across back then, which was a big lake, and I'm like, how can we possibly fish here? It's choked with weed, it's covered in lily pads, there's snags, there's no swims. So it was like super exciting, but at the same time, like I was so out of my depth. You know, I was used to fishing, I wouldn't say the polar opposite, but nothing like this. Yeah, you'd hook fish here sometimes, and they just tank up the middle of that. It's the big catfish. Like, I'm absolutely certain there was probably no big catfish in here, but back then, in our little minds, there was always a giant catfish. Back then, all my big rudd would have been caught from a big bream, big tench. So yeah, it was just natural to presume there was a ginormous catfish in here as well. It gets a lot more jungleistic from here on in. Like this, I totally remember. I've actually got photos of it. I've got catch pictures. Like it would have been here somewhere with rudd, I believe, and also with carp, where you can still see this sign in the background. And it's like, look how long it's been here for, mate. It's part of the tree. It's not even a sign anymore. It's just a part of the tree. Love it. I want to kind of sit with a float rod, enjoy my fishing, see what comes along, see what's even in here now. Just half of the excitement for me today, coming back to see, you know, what I can catch in a day's fishing. My earliest fishing memory, they're the fondest. There's a number of different things, but it all revolved around going trout fishing with my dad, probably from the age of 5, 6, something like that. Back then, of course, I wasn't fly fishing, but I was there, part of the adventure. It was the prep leading up to it, preparing the soup in the flask, the sandwiches, and then we would set the alarm clock like for crazy early, like 3 o'clock in the morning. But of course you couldn't sleep because you're going on an adventure with your dad. And then I remember like the drive to the venue, which was always significant, 2.5 hours. it would be see what wildlife we could spot, because that wildlife would then dictate how well the session was going to go. Like if you saw a couple of deer, you know, we were going to have a good day. If you saw like some foxes and a deer, maybe a barn owl at Supercross Road, you'd have an even better day. And if you saw a badger, you're going to catch the biggest trout ever. It was kind of like that. And then, yeah, getting to the venue, like I say, I couldn't actually do any physical fishing, but I was chief netsman. I'm just setting up a couple of float rods. On this particular one, I'm actually going to fish straight through with a 6-pound line. This will be hopefully for a tench. On the other rod, a much smaller float, where hopefully over a period of time I'll be able to keep feeding, and bring the rud up in the water. So a much shallower float, and yeah, lighter line, lighter hook link, 2-pound bottom, size 18. Bit of maggot fishing, bit of fun, just constantly feeding, you know, and getting something going. Hopefully, I can catch it rud after 25 years. Yeah, there's plenty out there. Look at that. Oh, this makes me happy. Sit here and catch rud all day, completely in my element. Super, super impressive. Hopefully we'll put a nice little bag of them together this morning. It might be 25 years later, but the feeling is definitely still the same. They're really plump. That's a fat one, mate. Do some weight there, wouldn't you? Flight is so visual, like if I'm not getting bites and not getting activity, I can sort of alter the depth, come up in the water, drop down in the water, lay on a little bit more. It's just more visual, more exciting. Like every time you get those little twitches and it sails away, it's what I kind of live for, man. For now, I think I'm going to leave this and I'm going to take a wander over to the other lake. It's completely different, like the polar opposite. It never used to be. Like when I fished it, it was this very small pool, again at the bottom of the slope, just literally up from this one. But the guys that have taken the lease on, James, they've transformed it. They've literally transformed it. It's really raw at the minute. You can see some of the fresh grass that's coming through, and it's very, very raw, but they've got the foresight and the vision, and most importantly, they've put in a phenomenal amount of hard work. That one they have stocked. There's lots of carp in there, some perch, I think there's some orf, some tench. So yeah, why not? Head over there. Very, very different, like I say, in comparison to this one, which is extremely mature and wild. But yeah, I'm up for stretching my legs, resting this swim. Hopefully it'll give the tench a bit more confidence. And yeah, we'll see what else we can catch. Actual fishing would be on the Great River Ouse, and specifically at a stretch called Adams Mill, which for many, many years was the barbel fishing mecca of Britain. And yeah, my first proper fishing memory was, again, my father taking me there. And I think the thing that sticks with me the most, it wasn't the fact that I think we caught 4 or 5 different species on that particular afternoon. We caught perch, we caught dace and little chublets, minnows. It was a smell. You know, we fished over the edge of a weir seal and it was just this smell. And, you know, anyone watching this that's done any river fishing, you'll know exactly what I mean, you know, when you go to those weir pools. And yeah, a real strong smell that's kind of ingrained on me. Every time I smell it, it takes me back to that very first sort of fishing session. And it stood me in good stead. Dad taught me how to trot a stick float, and I've took that through for the rest of my life with me. Man, this wind is chilly. I'm hoping that the bait I've introduced actually starts to stem a bit of a reaction and allows me to sort of do a few laps and hopefully stumble across some feeding fish. I've also put some floaters out, and I'd say reluctantly, because I've put quite a lot out, in shallow water on top of a bar, they have started to come up and take. And I'll just monitor that now. But if they do start to feed and one fish turns to 3 fish and 3 fish turns to 7 fish and all of a sudden there's a good number out there feeding, you can be sure I'm going straight out with a small controller and a floater hook bait. Because I'm going to be flitting from spot to spot to spot to spot to spot, it's much easier to fish a lift float, you know, bulk shot down by the hook. Maybe I'll use putty, I'll see what I've got with me, and then I can sort of fish the float over depth. I can quickly go into a swim, change the depth of the float, and I'm fishing nice and stealthy. That's the plan anyway. Please can you pray with me that the sun's going to come out and get this waterproof jacket off and we can enjoy day 1 of spring. Wow. All those years ago, I come down here to start my carp fishing, and the same thing's gonna happen again. Because of these guys and the restocking and the work that they're putting into it now, kids, adults even, will come down and they'll catch this fish, and it might be that particular carp that'll go, that's me, I'm an angler for life. Like, it's incredible. It definitely wasn't the morning for floater fishing. I kind of persevered purely because I saw a koi. Then I saw quite a couple of white ones. I am a right sucker for the ornamentals. And yeah, I see the odd one slurping down the very occasional floater, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna give it a go. And I'm glad I did. It has been such an enjoyable morning. Firstly, coming back to somewhere that I haven't fished for so long, that holds such dear memories. Coming back to find the bulk of it almost untouched, and then this one completely transformed was a massive shock. Yeah, the fishing's been brilliant. Caught loads of beautiful rudd this morning. The tench have decided not to play ball so far. The odd one sort of crept in, but it basically left me wanting to come over here and do a little bit of carp fishing. So I did, caught 3 small ones on the lift float, and then this slightly better one up on the surface, bizarrely. It's definitely not a floater fishing kind of day, but I persevered and persevered and managed to nick one. There you go. Nash gave me ridiculous opportunities. Yeah, Kev basically, it was there on a platter. Like, he trusted me and he allowed us to go and do things like the Urban Banks concept or the Euro Banks concept. And the reason myself and other people, Ollie, Dan, Cole Smith at a period, Winston when he worked there, the reason we were so passionate about projects like Urban Banks and like Euro Banks is because it's what we wanted to do. It's what we got the most enjoyment from. And when you strip the fishing out of it, the actual rig tying, the casting, the spodding, the catching, when you strip all of that out of it, it's one hell of a bloody adventure. So if you're going on one hell of a bloody adventure, but you're getting to do along that adventure the thing you love most, fishing, the two go so well together. That's kind of my train of thought with my fishing. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, whether I'm going for an hour, whether I'm going for a week, doesn't matter if it's UK based or European based, every day is an adventure. We are back in the swim and the tench have not turned up. It's just got windier and colder. I don't blame them. I'm not blaming the tench. It's been the most enjoyable day. Firstly, I got to come back to somewhere that's incredibly close to my heart. You know, it's my special place, it's my happy place. It's the place that I cut my teeth. So to come back and see it almost unchanged, it's been truly remarkable. Caught some beautiful rudd. I think the highlight though was seeing the transformation that the guys have done over there. It's nothing short of remarkable. Any fishery owner, anyone with a lease, any angling clubs out there that would like to carry out some work on their fishery, could be swim work, could be weed work, it could be potentially stocking, getting kids to come into fishing, accessibility, whatever it is, the Angling Trust are there to help fisheries get the best out of it for the next generations to come. So without further ado, I'm going to let these beautiful rudd go, and I'm going to bid this place farewell. Hopefully it won't take me another 25 years to get back down here, and I can come back down and continue catching stunning fish like these.